take refuge in our teacher, Sakyamuni Buddha. The Sutra opening kata, the Dharma infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to hear, to study, and to practice. May we fully understand and realize the Tathagata's true teachings. Okay, we read the sutra. Okay. The Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajna Paramita, perceives that all five skandhas are empty and is saved from all suffering and distress. O Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear nor disappear, are not tainted nor pure, do not increase or decrease. There is emptiness, no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and no forth until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death and also no extinction of them, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment. With nothing to attain, the Bodhisattva depends on Prajna Paramita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, the Bodhisattva dwells in Nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on Prajna Paramita and attain unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. Therefore, know the Prajna Paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the Prajna Paramita mantra. Proclaim the mantra that says, Gade Gade Paragade Parasam Gade Bodhe Swaha. So, continuation of the Heart Sutra. So we've done the first 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we have done the last time was the transcending the self. So I would like you to recall and tell me something about the self that we don't look at me, then you don't think that I will ask you questions. Okay. That we actually identify our existence with that self. So how many doors? How many sense doors? Okay. How many domains to those doors? So which 6? Also, those are the sense doors, but what are the domains? So, okay, eyes with what? Eyes with visual objects, okay. Ear with sound, yeah, okay. Nose with odor, and this with taste and touch. Okay, so those are called 12. Both. That's very good. Okay, and also another term to call those? The 6 sense doors, there is another term you call those? No. That's a good guess. Yes, internal senses. So what are the other external senses? Very good. So the 12, and then plus which gives you 18. Good. Which 6 consciousness? So easy. Yeah. Always start with eye, ear, then you will remember. You know, I think you guys are not used to memorizing things, right? When you went to school, when you were little, when you went to school, you have to memorize? Do you have to do dictation? Really? No wonder. We do. We have to memorize a paragraph, Chinese or English, and then the teacher would say, okay, write out these 2 words, like pranya. So you have to spell it out. And then she would maybe write a few words in the beginning, a few words in the middle, and a few words at the end. And then you have to dictate out those paragraphs. So we are very used to memorizing things when we were little, but of course not now. But now when you study the Dharma, you really need to actually memorize them. If you memorize them, of course you can go nose and ears, but it's actually better to memorize them in a sequence. So always you won't forget. Otherwise you'll be guessing, oh yeah, nose this time, and what else? So if you start with eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Eye, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Eye, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So then it's easier to remember, you see? Why do you need to remember these terms? It's actually one way of understanding the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha, really. If you don't memorize, then when you experience it, hey, what is this? And you don't really relate, you can't correlate the study that you have, the knowledge that you gain from studying to your own experience that you're actually through. Okay, so you completely always totally separate the two resources. So okay, so it is really very nice to actually understand it and remember it. Okay. So we call this is the 18 elements, right? So the 18 elements is we always identify it as this self, we, I, me, and I. So you can see actually from the Heart Sutra how this whole philosophy or how this whole teaching is being laid out. Okay. And in the first paragraph, it actually talk about the whole thing about the Heart Sutra. That's why the whole the topic, the title, and then the first paragraph is actually the core. It's the core of the whole teaching of the whole Heart Sutra, and then the other things are just more explanation to explain the whole thing about Heart Sutra. It's just like the trees, the trunk. The trunk of the Heart Sutra is the title and the first paragraph, and all the rest are actually the branches, the leaves, the flowers, to explain it further about the Prajna Paramita and how Prajna Paramita actually help you to understand this existence, help you to understand the existence of yourself, and help you to understand the existence of phenomena. Okay? Got it? Have you realized that? No? Have you realized that up until now? How many classes we have had in the Heart Sutra, with the Heart Sutra? 13. Okay. I hope that you will start to realize, start to understand how it is being laid out. And it's actually a very systematic laid out. Okay. So So now we have finished number 5, and now we are going on to this liberation from samsara. And this is how I study the Heart Sutra, is actually divide them into little paragraphs, and I could actually understand why it is talking about this. Is that what does it mean really? What does it teach me? I mean, teach me with the Heart Sutra. What does it teach me in this particular paragraph? And that's how I see it also. By really going into detail to study and to understand it, is I can actually divide it into 9 paragraphs to study and 9 topics to study it, to understand it. So the sixth topic, or the sixth item on this whole Heart Sutra is the next couple of sentences, couple of lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. On paragraph 4 is no ignorance, and so also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age or aging and death, and also no extinction of them. So these 2 lines actually mark what is meant in paragraph 6. Okay, that is the liberation from samsara. And then the rest of the 7 and 8 and 9 will come to it eventually. We are actually going on at a very ideal speed. I think we will be able to finish that before the end of the year. If I don't go away for too often. So I think it will be okay. I think it'll probably finish by the end, really way before end of the year. So last time we look at this paragraph, remember? Therefore, in emptiness, no form and no feelings. So we look at our own existence, this existence of this self, this human existence, last time. So how we can actually transcend this idea of self by really understanding what's the truth pertaining to the existence of form and pertaining to the other 4 skandhas, right? And also the truth pertaining to the sense objects or the external senses, and also the truth pertaining to the existence of consciousness, which is between internal and external. And only consciousness will only arise upon the contact of good, very good. Upon the contact of an internal base to the external base, then upon this contact, there will be a consciousness arising. Okay? So, now this time we are looking at this last little paragraph, no ignorance and also no extinction of it, and so forth until the no old age or aging and death, and also no extinction of them. Okay, so this is the paragraph that we're looking at this time. No ignorance. And you know, this paragraph, actually these 2 lines are simplified, right? Simplified. It's shortened by 2 words. These 2 words. The color has changed. And so forth. So what does it mean by so forth? No ignorance and also no extinction of it. So when ignorance starts and so forth, that means there are many more points until no old age and death, right? So you remember how many in between? 12 total or in between? Okay, good. Yeah, if you have a multiple choice, then you are wrong if you said 12, right? So between ignorance and old age and or aging and death, then in between that there are 10, right? Total is 12. What do we call this? The 12 links of? Say that again. Dependent origination. Very good. You're getting there. The more you're getting there. The 12 links of dependent origination. And what is actually the 12 links of dependent origination? Actually, where does it fit in? Actually, it fits in the Four Noble Truths. In the Four Noble Truths, right? So what is the Four Noble Truths? What is the first Noble Truth? You have no right to say anything because you are reading from the morn, right? So you cannot say anything. What is the first Noble Truth? There is suffering. What is the Pali term for suffering? Dukkha. Good. Getting there. After all these years, you see, patience, persistence. Okay, there is suffering. What is the second Noble Truth? Huh? There is what? Recognition. Yes, you could call recognition the recognition of the causes of suffering. Great, Bob, you're getting there. There is the causes of this suffering, or recognition of the causes of the suffering. I'll say, okay, then the third one, yeah, this extinction, that means the cessation, the stopping of the suffering. And the fourth one, huh? There, well, very good. You have been studying. Yeah, the path leading to the cessation of this suffering. So where does this 12 links of dependent origination fit in? Into which truth? Very good. The causes of the suffering. Okay, now you have studied the 12 links before, right? Have you memorized 12 links? You have. Is it a good day today? Okay. So can somebody tell me? Start from ignorance, which is at around what time? 12 o'clock, okay. So do we go anti-clockwise or clockwise? Oh, better go clockwise, okay, clockwise. So what is other at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever? Oh, Sankara, okay. So fast? Rebirth is the other way. Oh, then you're going anti-clockwise. Okay. Sankara. Consciousness, okay. Form and mind, good. That is what time? About between 3 to 4. Yeah, okay, great. Namarupa, that's form and mind. And then? That's the next one. Oh, that's the next one. Yeah, Namarupa becomes senses, right? It's about 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Okay, and then you set contact, right? 5:30. Then after contact, you have feelings. That's 6 o'clock, about 6 o'clock. Okay, 7 o'clock. Craving, very good. You're getting there. Craving, then clinging, yeah. Then becoming, good. Go on, good. Becoming. What is becoming? Birth, yeah. That's 10 o'clock. Then after birth, yeah, aging. Very good. And then ignorance again. Then. Huh? Do we do that one more time? Can we go anti-clockwise? Okay, go clockwise. Okay, ignorance. You said do it one more time. Oh, you mean we go to live another life, right? Or you want to do this cycle one more time? Okay, clockwise, anti-clockwise? Clockwise, 12 o'clock. Now you pick the choice, you say it first. 12 o'clock. What is 12 right there? I. Remember, 12 is the top. I. And ignorance. Always start with I, ignorance. That's how you remember. Label the clock. Okay, what's 1 o'clock? Sankara, good. 2? Good. Consciousness. 3 o'clock? Nama Rupa. Remember, it's always Nama Rupa before the senses. Nama Rupa. Okay, 4 o'clock? Senses, Salayata. Senses. And then when there are senses, you have contact. Huh? Yeah, you have senses, right? Senses. Then you contact. And then what after contact? Feelings. There's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Then you start to craving. When you have craving, then you start to clinging. When you have clinging, you will become, and then you will, after becoming, you become somebody else, right? Birth. And then after birth, you definitely will go older and aging and death, right? Aging, of course, you will die. You're going to live forever. Aging and death, that's 11 o'clock. You're looking at the screen as if you're seeing it from the screen.
Just a question. After there was consciousness,
Sankara and then consciousness.
Don't you have consciousness after when you're sensing? Like, isn't there like, well, you have these different types of consciousness? Isn't that later?
No, that's a different kind.
Okay.
That's the very different kind. Yeah. Okay. You can see it, right? Ignorance, right here. Ignorance. Around 12 o'clock, okay? And then formation, this is Sankara. And then the consciousness, the Vijnana. Nama Rupa, the form. And then the 6 sense spheres, the Salayatan. And then the contact. And then the feeling. And because of feeling, we have this craving. And this craving and the clinging actually is in the mind, right? It's in the mind. And this then it becoming. And then it will have birth and then aging and death. So this is a clockwise moving around. So that means from ignorance, we are actually going continuously running in the cycles of samsara. Okay, so at the enlightenment of the Buddha says this is simply the Dharma, and neither he created or is created by somebody else. It's the truth. Okay, even the Buddha is not here, this truth still persists in the universe. It wasn't created by anybody. And when he got enlightened, he asked himself, really, what is the source of suffering? And because of his experience, he actually could answer it himself. He said, oh, the source of suffering because of aging and death. A lot of sufferings actually come from this aging and death. Death, why would death brings on so much sufferings? You have to let go. Yeah. Let go of what? Yeah. Including people, including your material stuff, including your fame, including anything. And separation from the loved ones, and separation from the things that you like, and also would you like? I mean, is there a situation that is death really something that you really look forward to? Do you think? No, you're actually facing an unpleasant experience. Even though people going on to euthanasia, you know that there was a scientist, 104-year-old, 107-year-old Australian scientist, right, who actually adopted you're right. He was a very famous scientist, a botanist and ecologist. He actually chose to die last Wednesday in Sweden. He flew all the way from Australia to Sweden to have this euthanasia. And in Canada, we call it MAID, M-A-I-D, medical assisted in dying. He said because he lost the independence. He said he wanted to die when he was 89, when he wasn't allowed to drive anymore. And he said, I don't drive. I couldn't drive. I couldn't go out. And when he got older, he couldn't go into the forest. And he thought his life, the meaning of his life is going into a forest. And he said he lost everything like that. So he chose to die. So that is a very unpleasant. I think it's unpleasant. I don't know how many people could be really, really, really happy when they die. Oh, nice, death is here. Right? I really don't know. I think you can accept it, but whether it's really pleasant or it brings on happiness, I doubt it though. I doubt it. Okay. So Buddha asked himself, the suffering actually comes from this old age and death, aging and death. And then he asked himself, so what's the origin of age and death, aging and death? And he found out that it was the birth. And then he kept on asking himself the question, and he said, so what's the origin of this birth? So it came to be this becoming. I become. So I was born, I was born again. So we'll look at it. We look at it in a detail. So he kept looking at each of the item here. So he knows the next item is the origin. It originates from this item, from one before it. Okay. So he said, in order to really come out, we need to know, and we need to disengage us from the origin, right? To come out. I always like to compare this circle to something. Do you know what I like to compare it with? We constantly have this in our daily life when we drive. The roundabout. I think it is a roundabout. It is a roundabout. If you can find a way out of any of these 12 lanes, it's like a roundabout. Okay, take first exit on your right or second exit on your right, and you go to your destination, right? So are we able to find any exit on here? If we are able to find an exit on any of these lanes, then we are able to be free of sufferings. So we'll look at the possibility, okay? All right. So here the Buddha said, ignorance is the big reason for this cycle to actually appear. And Huizheng, this renowned monk, he said, deluded people cling to the existence of the 5 skandhas and the 18 elements and obstruct their own nature and don't see the light. So we studied that in the last paragraph. And other scholars or another practitioner, Buddhadasa, actually he said, ignorance is because we don't see this origination. Because he said, if you start to see, because there is that. Because this is not, then that is not. If we start to see, are you too cold?
No, it's
Something in there. I know. Yeah. It's the manure. I think it's the manure. Is that causing all of us this terrible sneezes? So Buddhadasa said, we are ignorant because we don't see that this is the dependent origination. All things are all conditioned. Because there are these conditions, that's why there is this thing arising. Because there is this lack of conditions, therefore there is no such thing arising. Okay, so that is what actually Buddhadasa meant. So ignorance actually conditions conditions all karmic actions, and karmic action conditions consciousness. Okay, so the 12 links of dependent origination in combination with causes and conditions actually tells us how ignorance, or what people call ignorance, or people give another word to ignorance, is confusion. Confusion. I think it's a very good word. We are so confused. We are constantly confused. When we are driving on a roundabout, we don't know which one is which one. First right, which is first right. If you have a really big roundabout, the roundabouts here in Canada is 2 miniatures. You go to Hong Kong, you go to UK, those roundabouts like a kilometer wide. They have so many branches. And even with one branch after the one branch, you have 2 branches. I don't know whether you've seen that in UK. In UK.
When you're on the wrong side of the road.
It's not the wrong side, on the other side of the road. You're confused. You see, you're already confused. If people are not driving on this side of the road, that means you're on the wrong side of the road. No, yeah, on the other side of the road. Because we're so conditioned to drive on the right side of the road. When you start to drive on the left side of the road, you got confused, you become ignorant on how to drive on the left side of the road. You see, because of this confusion, you become so ignorant. Yeah? So ignorance is actually what, in the context of the Buddha teachings, means either we are not knowing or we are actually knowing it incorrectly. Okay? So the term is really interchangeable with confusion and also assumptions. So during the intermediate state of death and rebirth, the proper conditions for the next existence have to be arise and have to be recognized before we can actually take what so-called a proper rebirth. If those conditions are not recognized, we can easily get confused and other conditions arise, then we will just follow. That's quite scary. You see, that's why in the Zen tradition, it says, even though in your meditation you see a Buddha there, you still use your sword to cut it out, kill it. Don't follow. Don't you think? Oh wow, nice Buddha. I see Buddha and I see light. No. See it the way it is. Gone. Don't get attached to it. Don't cling to it. Because once you start saying, oh, nice, then you actually start to fall into the trap of your own reactive mind. You see? So don't you get too elated when you see all the Buddha and Bodhisattva appearing in your mind when you start to practice. Okay? So now, when we start to look at a lot of people would think actually in the past or even at the present, a lot of scholars actually divided these 12 links into past, present, and future. We've studied that before, right? You sort of remember. Which I think, yes, in some sense, it is actually, you can actually divide it into this three lifetime thing. But also, each can be also, we can actually see in this lifetime thing. Okay, let us see the first one first. The 3 lifetime. Okay, they said ignorance and the mental formations, that means the sankhara, is a thing of the past. Because without the defilements, we would not have this kind of opinion, and we would not have this kind of attachment and clinging. And because everything starts with ignorance, so our sankhara actually based on this ignorance of the past. That's why we have this kind of sankhara. We have this kind of reactive mind. Okay, now then we go. Because of this sankhara, it's a storage inside this mind, right? So when we die, when we're floating around, okay, and then we saw, okay, I like this parent, I like this as my father, I like this as my mother. Then you actually have this consciousness, and then you go into you go into this a life this time. Take conception, is that right? Okay, conception. So then you become, then there is this consciousness arising. Okay, I like this mother. Okay, so you take conception there. And then when you are in the womb, then you start to grow. You start to grow. And then the 4 elements come together. And all the 4 elements come together, you create the nama and rupa. Okay, the nama and rupa. And then with the nama and rupa, the sense source starting to take shape. So remember, if you have seen those documentaries about an embryo, how the embryo will grow. Remember, the embryo is just like a little tadpole, right? Nothing there, and then it started to grow, and then it started to have eyes and hands. The fingers starting to actually split up. How many months? 6 months, 4 months. Okay, it started to become a little. There is a little body, taking shape of a human being. All right. So when the 6 senses come together, and then it's all become mature, the body, the little child become matures, and then it will come up. Okay, so it's being born, and even inside the womb there is already contact between the baby and the mother, right? Of course there will be. So because and also at that time, the sense, the feelings, the sensation part, because if there is contact, then definitely the baby will have these feelings. So sometimes the mother would say, oh, the baby is not happy, or is kicking, or when the mother get too agitated, the baby will get agitated too. So it's actually a very strong tie between the mom and the baby at that time. Okay, so or when then this is actually the current life. Okay, so then the sensations, and then the desire, and then the possession or the clinging. I got this because I don't know how to do circles with my PowerPoint, so I got this from the web, and it's all different nomenclature. But anyway, it's clinging. I need to learn. So whoever knows how to do circles with PowerPoint, please teach me. Okay? Nobody put their hands up? My students are so good. They are not technology wizard. Okay, maybe some of the students have to have some volition to learn how to do it and teach the teacher how to do that. Anyway, all right. And then this they claim this is the current life. Okay, and because of this craving of existence, when this happens, it brings on to a new birth. After this, it brings on after a new birth for a future life. Okay, and when future life comes, it goes on aging and death, aging and death. And because of this, it goes round and round and round and round. So the Buddha said, these 12 links are all interrelated together. When there are conditions, they will arise. And so many scholars think that these 12 links are actually the links to the past life and the current life and the future lives, which I think it could be, but I think it's more actually, to me, I think it works out more if I can start to see it from this present life. Okay, now, why don't we look at it from a present, from this perspective of perspective in this present life? Okay, ignorance. Let us start from this clockwise first. Ignorance. If somebody is so ignorant, for example, I have actually quite some years ago, I have seen a clip. A pharmacist in the States, he weighs 500 pounds. So he works from home. I don't know how he can work from home, but anyway. And he actually had a crime. He committed a crime of thefting $1 million of drugs. And he was sentenced to 30 months of house arrest. How can any prison accommodate a person who weighs 500 pounds in the prison, right? So they actually gave him a sentence of house arrest, 30 months. This pharmacist was so ignorant. At the end of his sentence, almost towards the end, the last 7 months of his sentence, you know what he wanted? Yeah, you know what he filed for? He filed for an earlier completion of this 30 months of house arrest so that he could travel from the East Coast to the West Coast to visit his family. Isn't that confusion? Isn't that ignorance? I think it's ignorant. Ignorance from so many perspectives. Ignorance of, right? The first thing is he is a pharmacist. And he could have a $1 million theft. Where is the ethics? He was 500 pounds in weight. Where is his sense of health? Right? Physical health. And he was sentenced to 30 months of house arrest. Then, honestly, you should be really serving, right? That 30 months of house arrest. And how could you ask to have an earlier what release? 7 months earlier release from this house arrest so that he could what? He could go and visit his family. What kind of mind? A very ignorant mind, a really ignorant mind. He could get to 500 pounds because definitely, either he is physically unwell or mentally unwell, so he actually just keep on eating, don't know how to stop. So there's confusion in his own mind, right? So there's all all these senses are so confused, so he can't stop. He cannot stop eating. So when he was so confused and so ignorant, so what kind of sankhara will he have? Of course, right? He will repeatedly go into that kind of mode to live his own life. So with that kind of sankhara, what kind of consciousness will arise? Confusion, right? Confusion. And because there is definitely no awareness, no proper kind of awareness, no understanding. And that kind of confused consciousness will actually, what? Create a very new nama-rupa. Are you with me? Yeah. Create a really new nama-rupa. And the new nama-rupa continues to become a new nama-rupa if he doesn't realize this confusion himself. So every day he would just go back into this old cycle. So this new nama-rupa constantly become a new nama-rupa. Don't you think so?
Yes.
You sure? No. You see, yes?
Something has to change or it'll stay.
Exactly. Not really the same. It's actually become a new kind of nama-rupa. Even worse, we could say, right? Understand now? Like a drug addict. If a drug addict doesn't know that he's confused, he's ignorant, so every time he go into that mode, it will be a new nama-rupa. And there could be a really stronger nama-rupa. Stronger than before, right? Stronger in confusion, I mean. You understand?
It seems like.
Yeah, you're adding on. You're adding it on. Right? So that's why habit is so difficult to change. Yeah? Okay. So when this nama-rupa is different, that means all the external senses that come in, you would perceive them to be different. And you use a new kind of internal senses to deal with the external senses, right? So this kind of momentum will start to build up. It's like the snowball effect, right? You keep rolling and rolling, the snowball getting bigger and bigger. And when these senses will come into contact with whatever, okay? The eye come into contact with form, or the mouth come into contact with taste, then you see, it goes on like a snowball effect. And because of this snowball contact, and it brings on these perceptions, these sensations, these feelings. If this is the nice feeling, oh wow, I want this, and clinging, craving, clinging, clinging. And the more clinging, the more you will become. The more clinging, then the more you will become. Or you add on 1 pound a day, and then tomorrow you have this nama-rupa, a new nama-rupa, and then this whole cycle start to repeat itself, and then you add on another pound, clinging, add on, clinging, add on, clinging, add on, clinging, add on. Then you really definitely become a very different person. So this birth, this bhavana is becoming, right? And this birth is really, each moment could be a new birth. Each day could be a new birth, right? When there is a new birth, and each time that there is aging and death happening. Can you see? It could be a momentary thing, or it could be a one lifetime thing, or it could be an infinite lifetime thing. Yeah, agree? You see, this is how I see actually the 12 links working in a present lifetime, not just in considering it's a past lifetime, now and the future. This is how I see it. So it's a constant cycles. It doesn't stop. It go backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward. And hopefully we have this senses to what? Stop it. I did this. It's not too bad, right? So I did this one by one. But it doesn't come out one by one. But anyway, there are ways. There are 4 exits here. 4 exits. Except you, 3 of you. Over here, anybody can guess. Which one do you think is an exit from this cycle?
Craving.
Craving. Okay. Here. All right. Oops, sorry. I already showed you. Okay, craving will come. All right. So the first possibility is through the contact. How? How? The sense space come into contact with something.
If you understand when you have contact with emptiness, it responds to
Yeah.
it will have a great view.
Or the way it is. If you have a contact with, for example, a touch on your body, it's wow, this is soft, and this is soft. And you don't go further on to what? This is a yeah, it's a pleasant or unpleasant, right? This is soft or this is hard. This is soft. I don't claim, I don't have to be so happy because this is so soft. Or I don't have to be so angry because it's so hard. Soft and hard is just a feeling. Pleasant, unpleasant is just a feeling. If we are so wise about these feelings, we won't get so attached to it. We won't start to crave for them. The problem nowadays is, why do we have so many drug problems? Why do we have so much alcohol problems? Why? Because people are addicted to the feelings, addicted to the sensations that the drug or the booze give them, or the holding of guns. I have guns, I have this power of self-defense. Yeah, you think so. People have rifles. People have tanks, right? So what? You have guns, so what? These feelings. Okay? So that is another exit. So there are four exits here. I mean, 4 possible exits. Which would you guess with the next one?
Not in order, but we're ignorant and now.
Yes, but that is very difficult. You're already ignorant. You're already ignorant, otherwise you wouldn't be here.
So actually, no craving for becoming.
Great. No craving, yes. Why?
As long as you crave, there's going to be a little.
Yeah. As long as you crave, there's definitely, you will actually strengthen the old habits. And you definitely wanted to possess right? As long as you crave. No? Yeah, right? Okay, what's the next possibility? Yeah, very good. You got it, you see? So these are actually the 4 possible links that you can actually come out from. But I myself, I think the easiest way to actually come out from this, I think it's different for everybody. So what do you think is the easiest way for you out of these 4?
Just a quick question, is the reaction in the feeling?
The reaction is the
Between
feeling.
the contact and the feeling.
It could be the contact itself, and it could be the contact leading to the feeling.
So that's.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Take care. Yeah. Bye-bye. Safe drive. He's out tomorrow. Oh, good. Day parole. Good.
So that would be the
Which one?
dealing with the reaction.
Dealing with the contact, the reactions from the contact.
Not react.
Yeah. Do not react. Do not follow or do not dislike, do not like. Okay, that's yours. Who else? Where do you think, craving for you? Is the craving part easier to deal with? Good. Everybody is different.
I agree with all, it makes sense if you got it at that point, then you don't have to be.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
actually,
Intellectually, this is,
just intellect, that's basically the-
yeah. So that's why in Satipatthana, the 4 foundations of meditation, the Buddha taught so many ways of dealing with all these. The craving, he taught the cemetery meditation, right? And the clinging also. And then the feeling part, he taught about the sensations in your body. Yeah, the sensations in your body. You don't start to cling onto the pleasant sensations, and you don't start to reject the unpleasant sensations. You just observe them the way they are. Yeah, so that's the part on this feeling part. But you can start a little one step earlier is through the contact, and you just observe. Okay, this is what I feel. This is the contact. That's why a sound is a sound, a form is a form. Is by just that one is just by contact. The eye consciousness see a form, and this is actually one kind of meditation. Kasla, I think it's Kasla. Is you, for example, you see color through a hole, and then you start looking at it, and you don't start reacting to it, reacting to liking or disliking the color, or the form, or hearing the sound, and you just hear. Sound is sound, color is color, form is form, smell is smell, taste is just taste. Okay, so that's the contact. That part is the contact.
Also, I just from my view there, even for each person to have a different point, I think that point will change in that person.
Of course, it keeps changing.
Because when that one's done, then the mind
Yeah.
goes through the feeling thing, and then
Yeah.
you have to realize,
Yeah.
I'm not reacting to this.
Yeah.
I'm still reactive, but
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just keeps changing.
Yeah. And you know, in this whole circle, in this whole all these links, some of the links you cannot break because it's already there, like ignorance. Ignorance to sankhara is already there. You're born with all those sankhara already. You see, you can change. You can lessen the sankhara. You can lessen the reactive mind, but you can. It's impossible to break it already because it was done. But contact is constantly happening, right? Every day, every minute of our life is constantly happening. So that's the way that you can actually lay your hand on. And it's actually a very, very useful. So that is why in the I overrun a little bit. I want to finish this. This is why in the Mahayana tradition, it says according to each situation, every situation that arises, we are able to actually eradicate a seeds of the past karma by maintaining this mind in this sunnata aspect. Because if we start to see it is a dependent arising, then we will hopefully will not plant any more new seeds. And then at the same time, you start to pull out all these old weeds. Old weeds you keep pulling out the old weeds, but you're not replanting new weeds. So your land could be a cultivatable land, right? But in any situation, you're pulling weeds, but you're actually planting more weeds. By reacting, then you're actually, that field could be always full of weeds. Okay. So remember, this is a way that we can actually stop repeating those mistakes, those 4 points. Of course, if you can actually start from this point, then you don't have to go all the way there, right? Isn't it nicer? You save more time, right? More efficient, okay? So if there is no ignorance, then there is no aging and death. All right. So, but why would the Heart Sutra said that there is no extinction of ignorance and no extinction of aging and death? Why would they say? Because extinction of ignorance is the meritorious result of a practitioner who walks on this path. Okay? So the extinction of ignorance, if you will be able to extend it here, then there will not be any ignorance. Why would there be ignorance? Okay, I think we'll stop here. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll finish later on. I want you to go home and study this 12 links. Really, really sit there and just look at it and understand it. Okay, and also look at it in a clockwise direction, or also look at it in the anti-clockwise direction. Look at it and understand it, and find some life experiences, life situation that you can actually put this link into it and understand it. 2 weeks later, we'll talk about this. Yeah, 2. Because I'm going away to Toronto this Friday to teach. So I won't be here next week. So maybe next week you have a quiz. Yeah, on this. Okay? All right? So we'll talk about the extinction and the no extinction of this in 2 weeks. Okay? But I want to share with you this. So don't let people pull you into their storm, pull them into your peace. Okay, this is a very, very mindful practice of how to live your life. So we bring our attention back to this body. knowing this is in this flux of changes all the time. We're starting to understand and experience what the Wise One has taught us, the impermanent nature of our own existence, and the conditioned arising of our own existence. With this in the back of our mind, we allow a good thought to arise. For all the benefits that I gathered tonight, may I share with all beings, human, non-human, big or small, far or near, visible, invisible. May they share my benefits, may they share my merits, may they be free of amity and miseries. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, and experience compassion and love, and be truly happy and be peaceful. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha and to study and to practice them and to help themselves to liberate themselves from the cycles of birth and death and be truly ultimately free and happy and liberated. Good. Good night.